and welcome to Razz Reviews. This video is part of my Oscar special where I'm going to be reviewing this year's best film nominees. And today I'm going to be reviewing Lion. Lion tells the story of a 5-year-old kid in India who loses his way and is separated from his family. He's adopted by Australian parents, and as an adult he tries to find his way back home. Before the Oscar nominations, I haven't even heard of this film. And I didn't have any expectations for it because I didn't even see a trailer, so I had no idea what the story was about and nothing. And I was surprised to actually learn that it was a true story. I found Lion to be a powerful and highly emotional film, however it's a little uneven. So let's start by talking about the top 3 things that I liked about Lion. Number 3, cinematography. This film is beautifully shot. It has so many gorgeous visuals, the way India is portrayed and the streets, and also the way Australia is, and there's a lot of emotional and highly tense close-ups where you feel the character's anguish. However, my favorite thing about the cinematography is that in all the 5-year-old boy's scenes, the camera is low and it feels like the movie is from the perspective of the 5-year-old boy. And I thought that was very powerful and very effective. It really helped me empathize with this situation, which is what made the first act of this film highly emotional for me. I was really touched by it. When he was sad or he was afraid and he was running, trying to figure out what to do, I felt that anxiety for him and I felt fear for him and a lot of compassion. And I think that most of that is due to that style of cinematography. So not only did the film look gorgeous, it also served a lot in terms of helping the plot and helping the story and the emotion of the story come through. The number 2 thing I liked about Lion is the performance of the child actor. The character of young Saru is portrayed by a child actor called Sunny Pawar. There is just something magical about finding a young child who acts really well, who feels natural. There's a certain magic there, like a lightning in a bottle, and it's definitely present in Lion. He is really good in this film and you believe him and you completely connect with him. You don't feel like he's a child actor. You never feel like he's over the top or cheesy. There are so many subtle and beautiful nuances. Even though he's just a little kid, he's still such a brilliant actor and he's the highlight of the film for me. Number 1, the beginning and end. This film begins in such a beautiful and highly emotional way when you watch the character get separated from his family and get lost and what he has to do to survive on the streets in a city where he doesn't even speak the language. And I felt like the film was trying to tell me more about the plight of young Indian children in big urban cities who get lost in the streets and turned into beggars or God knows what else. And it was really powerful. I felt that message come through and I really empathized with it and it really touched me emotionally and I thought it was so powerful. It also sets up this whole journey for this character where he gets lost and separated and tries to survive, and you know that you need a payoff from that. You need a payoff where he survives or he finds his way back home. So it set up a really big payoff and really big important goal for the character, which keeps you hooked in the film. And then we reach the ending of the film where all of these things that were set up before need to be resolved, and the resolution was just so beautifully done and so amazing and magnificent. The payoff was definitely worth the wait and it was so emotional. I cried like a baby. Just bawling, booger, tears. But it was really powerful and emotional and it really got to me. Especially for the director, this is his first feature. He's really young, yet he managed to be so emotionally effective and I think that's very commendable. And I especially want to mention the last couple of minutes of the film. I'm not going to say what happened, but the last couple of minutes of this film are so powerful. They end the film on a gigantic high note and leaves you with such emotion when you leave the film that no matter what happened towards the beginning or whatever flaws that the film actually has, the ending really grabs you and really finishes it off in a very nice way. I also really appreciated that this film actually sheds light on the young and lost children of India, and it takes you to a website where you can find out more how you can help these children and help the causes of the lost children and the homeless children of India, and I thought that was very important and I really respected that. As emotional and powerful this film was, it was also uneven and it had a bunch of flaws, so I'm going to start talking about them in the top 3 things I didn't like about Lion. Number 3, the soundtrack. I felt that the soundtrack was not up to par with the emotional level of the film. I felt it was a little under and I wish it was more effective and more memorable. A lot of times it felt rehashed and generic, like it felt like an Oscar bait soundtrack. You know, when you expected the strings to happen, they happened. When you expected the piano to come in, it came in. It never felt like it was part of the story. It never actually felt authentic or organic to the film. So a lot of times I felt like it was forced and a lot of times I felt like it wasn't even necessary. So I wasn't a big fan of the soundtrack of this film. I think it should have been stronger. The second thing I didn't like about Lion was Act 2. This film starts out really high and then in the middle of the film it just dips down and then it ends really high again. So it's kind of like it does this little thing. The second act of this film felt like it didn't even need to be there. There was a lot of moping around. I didn't really like the character of Dev Patel. Not that his performance wasn't good. It was good. It's just the way that the character was written was not really strong. He was moping around, didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. I never felt the character's conviction to try try and find home. There was a lot of first world problems, even though his problem is not a first world problem. So I really had a problem with it. I didn't connect, I felt bored, and I felt disconnected. So basically I felt like the film started somewhere, I needed to get somewhere, and in the middle it just stretched so it becomes a feature-length film, and it was absolutely unnecessary, and it felt that way. It also really slowed down in terms of pacing, because when we first started the film we had this trajectory. However, in the middle of the film the character doesn't know what he wants to do and feels a little stuck, and we are stuck with him as well, so the film becomes stagnant and loses its trajectory towards the goals. The number one thing I didn't like about Lion is the love story. Again, in most of these biopics I always feel like the love story is forced there. Like, we have to give the main character something to do because he's so aimless. Now we have to introduce a love interest, and they have to have a relationship, and they have to have problems, and then they have to have a fight, and it's all boring and uninteresting. I don't care. I didn't care about Rooney Mara's character. I didn't buy their relationship. I didn't understand their conflict or why they were arguing. And I'm tired of having all these love stories shoved in my face just to be there. We don't need it. So the love story really felt like a waste of time, whether it was convincing or not. And it wasn't convincing. So it felt like it was just buying time, and I was bored with it really, and it really took me out of the film. I completely lost interest in those scenes, and I wish it wasn't there. So all in all, Lion was an uneven film for me. However, I did enjoy it a lot, and I thought it was a powerful film with a powerful message, with a really nice performance, and that's why I'm gonna give Lion an 8. So, have you seen Lion? Have you even heard of it? If you've seen it, let me know what you've thought of it in the comment section, and as always, like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to ask me for anything else you'd like me to review for you next. See ya!